Hi everybody, Gisele Grenier here. In this class, what we're going to be doing is building upon an artist trading card. We're building it. We started off something very simple and then we just gradually added embellishment. Now we're going to work with some texture. And the theme that, oh God, something in my eye. The theme I'm going to be using for this one, I'm going to be making a few versions of this, the Day of the Dead, because we're about a month and a couple of weeks off of Day of the Dead, and I want to create something for that. So what I have is, as we're building up, we've got our piece of cardstock, and this is a packaging 2.5 by 3.5, and I've got my palette paper here. This is the stencil I'm going to be basing this on, and the challenge for this is using a stencil that's too big. That's going to be your challenge. And I'm going to be using something new. We've got our gesso, of course. We're going to be working with our gesso, and we've got modeling paste, black modeling paste. So think of drywall plaster for art. Okay, got that. And then I'm going to be using two metallic paints, Decor Dazzling Metallics, Amethyst, and Black Pearl. So I have some parts already prepared in advance to save time. So I'm going to keep building on the foundations. Gesso, so we know this already. And I'm still not using black gesso because that's a specialty item. White gesso is all you need. If you have it, fine, but you don't need it. Okay, we just want to get that in there. Done. Put that aside. Now for this particular piece, your cardstock needs to be thick if we're going to be using modeling paste. Now there is DIY stuff out there. If you're just mucking around for yourself, DIY stuff is fine. But if you're going to be creating something for a swap to sell, a gift, use art-based stuff, because you don't, unless you can know the predictability of what's going to happen a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road with whatever it is that you're making, you really don't want the stuff falling apart. All right, and I'm almost out. So I have a piece already prepared. So once it's dry, what you're going to do is you're going to take your purple metallic paint. And I'm not going to use a brush. I'm going to use a kitchen wipe. So I'm just going to put a little bit of paint right about in the middle, not that much. You can use a brush if you want. I just want to show you different ways of doing it. And I'm just going to cover everything. Kind of gets messy. If you have gloves, put some disposable gloves on. Sometimes I like getting my fingers dirty. I don't like getting my fingers dirty when I'm working with mediums though. Okay, just like that. We just want to get that covered up and then put that aside. And that can go in water. Clean that up. I have one that's already dried. All right, and I let the metallic paint air dry. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use our modeling paste. So with this, this is the Andy Skinner stencil. This is the 8x8. It's called Day of the Dead, and you've got the skulls. That's what it looks like with white paint. Okay, you can choose. This is a typical Day of the Dead that you just have something really, really scary there. So I'm going to be doing a couple of versions of this. For this particular one, I'm going to be using this one here. So the challenge is, okay, what do we do? You know, Joe was saying use just half. Okay, so if I use just half, then I've got, if I imagine, I've got all this is going to be blank, which is not too bad, but I really want to focus on using the modeling paste. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it smack dab in the middle because I want the eyes. So I'm going to kind of level that up right about there. Now you'll need a palette knife for this. That should be okay. And you can just use metal knife or you can use a plastic one. It doesn't really matter. It's completely up to you. What I suggest is that with, oh, this is hard as a rock. See? Okay, what are we going to do? Okay, so I'm kind of glad this happened because black modeling paste is something else you really don't need. just use the white modeling paste and we can tint it with carbon black. So I'm going to be putting, it's just like plaster. So I'm thinking, how much am I going to need? That should be okay. Okay, so it's nice. It also comes in clear. And so I'm going to get that started because we're going to be putting metallic paint on this anyways. But you can put it on and you can paint it dry. Tinting it just helps. Okay, so just that. And then our card. And of course I was on the wrong side. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. My fat head's not getting in the way. Okay, right there. So I'm going to hold that down. I mean, you can tape it, which, you know, it's not going to help much, but I want to grab a good amount. And in one pass, it's like frosting a cake. And the thicker you put it on, the thicker the actual texture is going to be. You notice I'm doing very, very slowly. If you go too fast, you're going to end up scraping some of that, which is going to show in the end. And then you can smooth it out if you want. I want to make it really even here because this is the edge of the card. I'm using the flat part of the palette knife to smooth that out. Okay, this is where the magic happens. You're going to pull it straight up. There we go. Okay, I'm going to put that just on the side here. Now, what I can do is if you had another card that was ready, get another sheet of palette paper. Straight down. Okay. Now you're going to scrape what's left over. And you're just going to redo it again. I'm going to screw it and put that on my paper. Be very careful here. Okay, lift it straight up. Put that over there. Now I'm going to repeat this for as many cards as I can use. Now let me get let me just get this really flimsy one and just to use that up. Because what I want to do is I want to show you what happens if you use paper that's too thin. Use up all the medium. Okay. All right, gonna put that aside. And we still have enough to probably make one more. Oh, let's just use the scrapbook paper. Let's go on the side here like that. It's getting thinner and thinner and thinner. stuff goes far. So I started off with it really, really thick. Now it's thin. There we go. That should be all right. There's a piece of dried stuff in here. Straight up. It just shifted that. Okay, so let's take that. All right, so now to clean these, I basically just scrape onto a paper towel, and you'll get to understand how much you actually need to make. And then baby wipe, again, just if you can put it into a container of water for now, that would be ideal. That way you're not having to actually waste your creative time doing cleanup like I am right now. What I do on a fresh piece of palette paper, I'll put a baby wipe down, and then I will take the stencil, and then I will take another piece of baby wipe, press that, and then depending on how wet the baby wipe is, I'll actually spray it with water. What it's doing is it's keeping the stencil wet. Okay, I won't leave it like that long though. That stuff evaporates. All right, so recycle bin for that. So see what's happening with the paper? It's curling. The one that I was thinking was going to curl, not so much. Okay, so these ones here, there's a little bit sticking out on the side. I'm just going to grab that. Put that there. And put that there. All right. So there we go. You've got these. Oh, these are amazing. I love using modeling paste. But look, we didn't need to have black modeling paste. Didn't need it. So these, I'm going to let these dry. It's really cool right now. I'm just going to let everything dry overnight. That way it's guaranteed to be fine. And when we come back, when it's dry, then what we're going to do is we're going to take the black pearl metallic paint. I may change it up to a color because I've got 4 cards to show you some of the different things that you can do. All right, so I'll see you then. All right, so they're all dry, and what I thought would happen to the really, really thin one did happen. You can see that it's flimsy. It just needs to be collaged onto something stronger. So what I want to do now is, because I did 4, I want to do a little bit of a demonstration on using metallic paint to enhance this. And I'm also going to show you the wax metallics. So I've got DecoArt Dazzling Metallics, metallic paint, Venetian Gold, Festive Red, Teal. You really can use anything you want. I always wanted to do something a little bit better than just gold and silver. So I thought the Venetian Gold is quite nice. Then Orange Flicker for the metallic luster. And the Orange Flicker I'm going to use on the purple, because orange and purple are kind of opposite on the kind of color wheel. So I'm going to do this one here. Oh, paper towel. And you can use a brush for this if you want. I wanted to use these cotton swabs. And you can really do this any way you want. You can just, go along the edges. Lightly go over to grab some texture. You can go heavy like that. Okay, it's up to you how you want to do this. Just going to kind of glaze over that. You're in my way. Okay, you can do that. And then let's take the red. Let's do the red in this one here. So these cotton swabs, they work out great for control, but I'm not getting a lot of distribution. So if I try with a little stencil brush, oh, this is better. This is better. There we go. So that's with the metallic. And let's go with the teal. I'll do the same thing. Just use the same paint. And you don't have to do this. Do it as light or as heavy as you want. Okay. You can see where the palette knife got stuck in there when I was scraping it. Make that a little bit heavier. Okay. And then this one here. So the wax metallics, you put it on and then you burnish it. Let me get another brush. And the wax metallics is water soluble, so if it's great, this is drying out, and that's the nature of the product. You can just add a little bit of water to it to reconstitute it. There we go. Now with this here, once you put that on, then you should take a cloth, a soft cloth, and then rub. Paper towel is not the best for this. It's actually got caught there. A soft cloth, and what it does, you burnish it and it really intensifies the shine. But yeah, see the paper towel? All the little paper towel bits got stuck on there. Nothing, the brush will get rid of that. There we go. All right. And then for varnishing, you can varnish over this if you want. It's always recommended, when you do something thick, that you varnish to seal the texture paste to the card. When you're using the metallic luster, try to do minimal passes over that, because it will dissolve when it gets wet. So I would say 1-2 passes over that, and then you'll be fine. Then just work it around here. All right. So I hope that you enjoyed this texture demonstration, and embellishing with a little bit of glam, and also what happens when you use thin papers when you're using thick texture products. So make sure that your pieces are nice and thick when using texture products, or if you use something thin, mount it first, then apply your texture. All right, so I would love to see pictures of your take on this type of project. You don't have to use a skull stencil, but anything, anytime, any texture that you've got there, even if you just, put a swipe on some paper just to see what it looks like. So post your pictures in the community along with any questions you might have, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with. All right, so until I see you in the next class, stay inspired.